Hello, dear students of first MSc Chemistry. In the previous classes, we saw the mechanism of aromatic electrophilic substitution reaction. After seeing the aromatic electrophilic substitution reaction, we saw some of the common aromatic electrophilic substitution reactions, namely nitration, sulfonation, halogenation, Friedel-Crafts alkylation and acylation reactions. And after that, we discussed about the orientation and reactivity of reactivity in aromatic electrophilic substitution reactions. How the reactivity of aromatic compounds differ when they are substituted. How the groups which are present as a substituent orient the incoming group when the compound undergoes further substitution. So this is about the orientation and reactivity. And after the orientation and reactivity, we discussed some of the terms connected with the mechanism of aromatic electrophilic substitution. We saw what is meant by ipso attack. See, if a monosubstituted aromatic compound undergoes electrophilic substitution further, and if the electrophile attacks at the position of the substituent, that is, attacks at the carbon bearing the substituent, then such an attack is called as the ipso attack. We discussed about the fate of the intermediate that is obtained by the attack at the carbon bearing the substituent, called as ipso attack. And after seeing ipso attack, we discussed what is meant by ortho effect also. After discussing all these things, now we shall move to some more specialized reactions of aromatic electrophilic substitution reactions. See, the reason for discussing all these reactions is you have studied all these reactions in your UG class itself. In addition to these reactions, we must discuss a few reactions which are included in your MSc syllabus. See, the first reaction is your Wills-Meyer-Heck reaction. Check the spelling. The reaction is Wills-Meyer-Heck reaction. What is this Wills-Meyer-Heck reaction? See, this is a formylation reaction. We have to discuss many formylation reactions. Wills-Meyer-Heck reaction is a formylation reaction. What is meant by formylation? Introduction of a formyl group. So, if you introduce a formyl group, we know what is a formyl group, formaldehyde. So this is your formaldehyde, a aldehyde group from formaldehyde. So if you introduce a formyl group means if you put a formyl group CHO instead of one hydrogen, you put a phenyl ring. So this is your benzaldehyde, the aldehyde group, that is your formyl group. So you have acetaldehyde, aliphatic aldehydes, aromatic aldehydes. So if you convert benzene to benzaldehyde, that is your formylation reaction. You are introducing a formyl. This formylation reaction can be done by this reaction, namely Willsmeyer-Hake reaction. Check the spelling. You should be very thorough with the spelling. Willsmeyer-Hake reaction. See, this Willsmeyer-Hake reaction is accomplished with the help of a set of reagents, namely formamides and phosphorus oxytrichloride. What is this formamide? Formaldehyde. If this one is converted into amide, then it is your formamide. See, formaldehyde. What is your amide group? Amide group is CONH2. That means you are converting one of the. So this is your formamide. See, formaldehyde is converted into formamide. This you can easily do. For example, how can you convert if this is converted if it is treated with PCl5, then it will be converted into formyl chloride. If it is treated with ammonia, you will get formamide. That is the method of preparing amides. So formic acid can be easily converted into this formyl chloride. Treatment with PCl5. Formic acid. What is your formic acid? OHO. So formic acid, if it is treated with PCl5, you will get formyl chloride. So the formyl chloride, if it is treated with ammonia, it will give you formamide. Now this formamide is able to bring the reaction. If the formamide is converted into some N-substituted compounds. Generally the formamides are reactive if they are combined with POCl3, phosphorus oxytrichloride. How can you prepare this phosphorus oxytrichloride? We have PCl3, phosphorus trichloride. Another compound is PCl5. If these compounds are taking an oxygen, if moisture is added, they will take. So PCl5, that is used as a deoxygenating agent. So if they will be easily converted into phosphorus oxytrichloride. So a combination of these two reagents can bring this formylation reaction. See, instead of these formamides, if you use N-substituted formamides, that too N-alkyl aryl substituted formamides, then such formamides are found to be more effective in bringing this reaction, namely formylation reaction. The reaction is called as Willsmeyer-Hake reaction. So if you carry out the formylation reaction with N-substituted phenyl methyl CH3, N-phenyl N-methyl formamide, N-phenyl N-methyl formamide, if it is treated with POCl3 over a aromatic compound, then the aromatic compound is formylated. This reaction is called as the Willsmeyer-Hake reaction. Let me write the reaction. See, benzene, if it is treated with N-phenyl N-methyl formamide in presence of phosphorus oxytrichloride POCl3. This is your phenyl group. N-phenyl N-methyl. N-phenyl N-methyl capital N. N-methyl formamide. That is the effective reagent. You get formylated benzene or benzaldehyde as the product. This reaction is called as Willsmeyer-Hake reaction. See, remember the spelling. Willsmere-Hake reaction. So this is an important reaction, formylation reaction. In this reaction, let us see how the electrophile or the attacking species can be generated. We all know that the electrophile is having a positive charge. It should be electron deficient. If it is electron deficient, then only it will love electron-rich centers. How the electrophile is generated from N-phenyl N-methyl formamide. See, this is your N-phenyl N-methyl formamide. Now, this phosphorus oxytrichloride, it adds over this carbonyl moiety. As a result, what happens, you get a product, a intermediate like this. See, you have ClHOPOCl3. Simply, I can say POCl3 adds over the carbon-oxygen double bond. As a result, you are getting this compound. It is an intermediate, we can say. Now, if this OPOCl3, if it totally leaves, then you get a electrophile like this. This one is able to produce a electrophile like this. See, OPOCl3 O minus. It takes away the pair of electrons, so you get a carbocation. Now this carbocation acts as the electrophile. So this is your electrophile that is produced. Now, the Willsmere-Hake reaction takes place over activated aromatic compounds. I hope you all remember what is an activated aromatic compound. See, an aromatic compound gets activated if it is having a substituent with a lone pair of electrons. Then in such cases, you get the ortho and para products. Ortho para are highly active substituents which are having a lone pair of electrons. We have discussed in the reactivity itself. If your substituent is having a lone pair of electron, then you are able to draw one more resonance structure. Because of that, substituents with the pair of electrons are ortho-para directing. So the compound is highly reactive. Example is your phenols, anilines. So let us take any compound which has a group Z with a lone pair of electrons. Now, if this is attacked by the electrophile that is generated from this reagent N-phenyl N-methyl formamide upon reaction with phosphorus oxytrichloride. So this is your ClH. This is your electrophile. So automatically you will get if this position is attacked, Z is a group with their own parameter. If this position is attacked, then we will get the resonance stabilized structure. The resonance stabilized intermediate is this one. So I draw the fourth one. So this is your resonance stabilized intermediate, and you get CH, Cl, N, PH, CH3, H. Now, if this is shifted, this should be shifted in this direction. See, the hydrogen is lost. Hydrogen moves to this place, chlorine will go out. Then automatically we will have chlorine is not lost, it is present. So you will get if this is shifted, then you will get an intermediate compound like this. See, Z with a lone pair of electron, and you will have CHCl So this is an unstable compound. If this is hydrolyzed, this can be totally hydrolyzed, then you will get your formylated product, C double bond OH. So this is your formylated product. So first, the electrophile that is generated from N-phenyl N-methyl formamide reacts with phosphorus oxychloride. You are getting the electrophile. The electrophile now attacks in the ortho position Z plus. It is a group carrying the positive charge because it is already having the lone pair. It is involved in the resonance stabilization. Now, this will give you a intermediate like this. If it is hydrolyzed, you will get it is highly unstable. It undergoes hydrolysis to give you the formylated compound. So, the compound must have a activated group Z, activating group Z. So phenols and anilines, they are undergoing the Willsmeier-Haake reaction very easily. And some of the activated aromatic compounds like azulines, ferrocines, they also undergo the formylation reaction through this Willsmeier-Haake reaction. Ordinary benzene is very slow because it is not activated, the compound is not activated. So, activated compounds like phenols, anilines, they undergo the formylation reaction very easily. Instead of POCl3, you can make use of this reagent, namely COCl2. That can also be used as a reagent in the place of POCl3. The same reaction is taking place. See, so this is your first formylation reaction, namely Willsmeier-Haake reaction. In this Willsmeier-Haake reaction, what you are doing is, you take an activated aromatic compound, namely phenol or aniline. If this compound is treated with N-phenyl N-methyl formamide in presence of phosphorus oxytrichloride, POCl3, you get the formylated compound. So, if you take phenol, it is converted into salicyl aldehyde. In the ortho position, you have a formyl group or aldehyde group. So, phenolic compound, if it is converted, if it is formylated, then you get salicyl aldehyde. You have other reactions of formylation also. Formylation is also done with carbon monoxide and HCl. The reaction is called as Gaterman-Koch reaction. Gaterman-Koch reaction. What is this Gaterman-Koch reaction? Very simple. When an aromatic compound is treated with carbon monoxide and hydrogen chloride in presence of a Lewis acid catalyst, AlCl3, cupric chloride is also used. Cuprous chloride is used, CuCl. Be careful, cuprous, not cupric. So copper in the +1 oxidation state, cuprous chloride is used. Cuprous chloride, CuCl is used. So aromatic compound, it can be formylated with the carbon monoxide and HCl to give you the formylated compound, namely benzaldehyde. So this is your Gaterman-Koch reaction. You require a combination of reagents, carbon monoxide, HCl, AlCl3 and cuprous chloride. Of course, the mechanism of the reaction is not known. Instead of using the mixer of reaction, all the ingredients, namely carbon monoxide and HCl, can be produced in one step. For example, if you drop Chlorosulfuric acid. Chlorosulfuric acid. It is a specialized reagent. Chlorosulfuric acid. What is this chlorosulfuric acid? We know the molecular formula for sulfuric acid, H2SO4. The structure is this one, OH. So this is your sulfuric acid. If you replace one of the OH group by Cl, that is your chlorosulfuric acid. So the molecular formula for chlorosulfuric acid is HSO3Cl. This is the reagent. It is a specialized reagent that is used in Gattermann-Gotz reaction. If this chlorosulfuric acid is added in drops over formic acid, HCOOH, formic acid, then it generates the carbon monoxide, HCl, and sulfuric acid. Sulfuric acid catalyzes this Gattermann-Gotz reaction. So this reaction is used for the preparation of formylated aromatic compounds. This reagent is used for the preparation of benzaldehyde, and the procedure is given in Organic Synthesis Volume 2 in page number 583. Organic Synthesis Volume 2, page number 583, that discusses about the formulation of aromatic compounds with chlorosulfuric acid. See, this reaction is given in one line in Advanced Organic Chemistry by Jerry March. Students, Advanced Organic Chemistry, Jerry March. It is a very good reference book. The matter is given in the condensed form. You should read each and every line carefully. It gives you lot of information. So, if you prepare for any competitive examination, you must read each and every line of Jerry March and try to remember the points that is given in one line. One line of Jerry March conveys one reaction. Another line is a modification. So it gives another information. So read the book thoroughly. Read the textual matter given under the reactions. They carry lot of information. Note them. This is one information. If you refer Jerry March, Advanced Organic Chemistry, Jerry March, then in the page number 488, you may have this formulation reaction, Gattermann-Gotz reaction in one paragraph. A modification of this or a latest reaction of this formulation is this use of the reagent, namely chlorosulfuric acid. So please read each and every line of Advanced Organic Chemistry by Jerry March. They give a lot of information. And if you want to score good marks in any competitive examination, you will find questions from each and every line. Then only you can answer. Please remember, when you are reading Advanced Organic Chemistry by Jerry March and when you prepare for any competitive examination in the SLET NET examinations. See, there is a modification of this reaction, Gattermann-Gotz reaction. It is called Gattermann reaction. In this Gattermann reaction, what you are doing is you take a aromatic hydrocarbon, for example benzene. If it is treated with zinc cyanide in presence of HCl. So zinc cyanide, if it is treated with benzene in presence of HCl, then you are getting ARCH NH2 plus Cl minus. If it is hydrolyzed, you get ARCHO, formylated compound. So this is another modification of this Gattermann-Gotz reaction. See, the same formylation reaction is also carried out with chloroform. What is the formula for chloroform? CHCl3. It is a common organic solvent. It is also used as a reagent in many reactions. And one such reaction is your formylation reaction. See, chloroform in presence of sodium hydroxide. It is found to be effectively formylate aromatic compounds, and the reaction is called as your Reimer-Tiemann reaction. This reaction also we have studied in our UG class itself. But when you study about this Reimer-Tiemann reaction, formylation reaction in your plus 2 or in UG class, you may not remember that this is a aromatic electrophilic substitution reaction. See, the Reimer-Tiemann reaction is used for the conversion of aromatic compounds into a formylated aromatic compound. The first condition to carry out this Reimer-Tiemann reaction is you should treat chloroform under alkaline condition. You should make use of any base, sodium hydroxide or potassium hydroxide. The sodium or potassium hydroxide will give you the OH minus ions. The OH minus ions are able to produce the attacking species, namely electrophile. See, already we have seen that the electrophiles are having a positive charge, and in some cases, namely Friedel-Crafts alkylation acylation reaction, I have told you, the reagent may form a complex. The positive end of the complex may act as a electrophile. So any positive ion which has deficiency of electrons can act as a electrophile. So electrophile is electron deficient in nature. Here in this reaction, let us see how a electrophile is generated. Of course, in this reaction, the electrophile is not having a positive charge. See, chloroform, if it is treated with a base, sodium hydroxide, then it is known to produce a intermediate, namely dichlorocarbene. See, name of this intermediate is called as dichlorocarbene. See, how can you understand the formation of this dichlorocarbene? How can you justify? Look at the electronic configuration of carbon. Atomic number is C6. So the electronic configuration is 1s2, 2s2, 2p2. We say that the carbon undergoes sp3 hybridization. One electron is promoted, 2s orbital electron is promoted to the 2p3. So 1s and 3p orbitals, they undergo hybridization, and because of the sp3 hybridization, we get 4 equivalent sp3 hybridized orbitals, and you get a molecule, namely methane, with 4 sigma bonds, carbon-hydrogen bonds. The 4 sp3 hybridized orbitals are used. So we explain the bond formation using the theory of octet of electrons. Each bond is made out of 2 electrons. So 4 into 2, 8. So around carbon you should have 8 electrons. The octet is completely filled. Suppose if H is thrown out as H plus, then you have a carbon ion. The octet of electrons is there. Suppose if the H is taking away hydride ion or any alkyl halide, because of the electron that will take away, then you get a carbocation. A positive charge is there. So you have a deficiency of electron that acts as a electrophile. Now, temporarily you forget this concept of hybridization and bond formation. You have 1s2, 2s2, 2p2. 2 electrons are in the p orbital. So if it is used for the bond formation with carbon, then you have a chlorine, See, 4 electrons, 2s2, 2p2, 2 electrons. 1 electron is used for bond formation with chlorine, another one is used for bond formation with chlorine. Then you have a pair of electrons over carbon. That is the electrons from the 2s2 orbital. You forget the hybridization. So it is how the carbene are produced. Look at the number of electrons, 2, 2, 6, not 8 electrons around this carbon. See, in methane, 8 electrons are there around the carbon. The octet is completely filled. In dichlorocarbene, only you have 6 electrons, just like your alkyl cation, methyl cation. 1, 2, 3, 6 electrons are there. So, there is electron deficiency, and because of the electron deficiency, the dichlorocarbene acts as a electrophile. See, the reason for explaining this one is, some of you may have the doubt. In the beginning itself, I am saying that a species with a positive charge or a electron deficient center will act as a electrophile. It will prefer electron-rich center. In such a situation, then how can this dichlorocarbene having 2 electrons over the carbon will act as a electrophile? This is the reason. So, dichlorocarbene, the formation I have explained. If it is having a pair of electrons over the carbon, then only 6 electrons are there. You should have 8 electrons. Because of that, there is electron deficiency, and this dichlorocarbene acts as a electrophile. This dichlorocarbene is produced, it is a reactive intermediate produced from chloroform and sodium hydroxide. So, chloroform under alkaline condition produces this dichlorocarbene. So, let us see the reaction, namely Reimer-Tiemann reaction, how it reacts. Once again, just like the Gattermann-Goltz reaction and Wilsinier-Hague reaction, Reimer-Tiemann reaction also takes place over activated aromatic compounds. Phenols. Phenoxide under alkaline condition, you carry out the reaction under alkaline condition, so phenols will be converted into phenoxide ions. When they are treated with chloroform in presence of base sodium hydroxide, you get the sodium salt of O minus, the formulated product. If it is a neutralized, you will get salicyl aldehyde. This is your salicylate. This is your salicylate. O minus CHO. If it is Na plus, here you will have Na plus. If it is if you use sodium hydroxide, NaOH. So if it is neutralized, you will get salicylic acid as the product. If it is neutralized, you get salicylic acid as the product. So this is your Reimer-Tiemann reaction. Sorry, salicyl aldehyde. Salicyl aldehyde. It is not salicylic acid. Salicyl aldehyde is obtained as the product. So this reaction takes place when the aromatic compound is activated. You should have a group with a lone pair of electron. Phenols and anilines, they are giving this reaction, namely Reimer-Tiemann reaction. See, we have other compounds also, namely pyrrole. Pyrrole is undergoing this reaction. This can also be considered as a evidence for the formation of dichlorocarbene, the intermediate. See, pyrrole, it is a heterocyclic aromatic compound. We are going to discuss about the heterocyclic aromatic compounds also. See, nitrogen is having a lone pair of electron. If it is treated with a base like potassium hydroxide, then you get the potassium salt of pyrrole. Nitrogen will have the positive charge. Now, only the lone pair of electron is used, so no positive charge. If it is Nk plus. Now, if instead of hydrogen, NH you will have. You will have a hydrogen lone pair here, hydrogen. That is the formula for pyrrole. The hydrogen is replaced by potassium. So you get the potassium salt of pyrrole. If this is formulated, then you get the product, namely 2-formyl-pyrrole. 2-formyl-pyrrole. In addition to these 2-formyl-pyrrole, you are getting a product, namely 3-chloropyridine. 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 See, the reason for the formation of 3-chloropyridine is due to ring expansion of the salt. The ring expansion also takes place with dichlorocarbon intermediate. Actually, these reagents are used for the ring expansion reaction. For example, if you have a pentadiene like this, if it is treated with dichlorocarbon, then it will be converted into cyclohexene, ring expansion reaction. So, for this reaction only the CCl2 is used. The same thing is happening here also. You get 3-chloropyridine because of ring expansion reaction. So, that itself is a evidence for the formation of your dichlorocarbon in this reaction. So, in addition to the formulated product, you get 3-chloropyridine, which is because of the ring expansion reaction. So, this is one modification of the reaction, or we can take it as a evidence for the reaction. See, let us see the mechanism by which the reaction is brought. First, your phenoxide ion O minus, if it is treated with the chloroform and base, you get the dichlorocarbon. The dichlorocarbon intermediate attacks in this place. So because of the attack, you get O plus CHCl. Sorry, you will have a negative charge here and hydrogen. First, CCl. If you want, I can explain this one also. See, you have O minus CCl2. If the carbon attacks here, then the pi electron is shifted. This pi electron is shifted for the bond formation. As a result, you have a intermediate like this one. Carbon will have a negative charge because it carries the lone pair of electrons. Sorry, a pair of electrons. So that will be converted into a negative charge. This is supplied. So octet of electron is filled. The carbon now has a negative charge because the octet of electron is filled. It has 8 electrons. 2, 4, 6 and the negative charge 2 electrons, 8 electrons. So the octet is completely filled. So this is the first intermediate that is obtained. Now this intermediate, hydrogen is migrating, the proton is migrating. If it migrates, then we get an intermediate O plus if H plus goes, the negative charge comes to this place. The negative charge comes to this place, Cl. Now the negative charge can be shifted. So you have another intermediate. If this is shifted, you have O minus CHCl. Now if this is hydrolyzed, you get O minus CH double bond O, the formulated compound. So this is the mechanism of Reimer-Tiemann reaction. See, remember, the Reimer-Tiemann reaction takes place when chloroform is treated with a base, namely sodium hydroxide or potassium hydroxide, and if it is treated with a activated aromatic compound like phenols or anilines. So this reaction is also a important reaction. Of course, a few modifications of the Reimer-Tiemann reactions are also given. The same reaction can also be carried out with the hexamethylene tetramine. You can refer Advanced Organic Chemistry by Jerry Marsh. See, we have other formylation reactions also. Formylations with orthoformates. Of course, it is a very important reaction. Recently, I have come across many questions from the CSIR examinations. Orthoformates. So that are also used as a reagent. And we shall see the reactions of orthoformates at the appropriate time. So, this is about the formylation reactions. Reactions of orthoformates that will be discussed later. So far we have discussed the Friedel-Crafts alkylation reaction, the mechanism in general, some of the reactions where we make use of some specialized reagents are also discussed by us today in this class, that is a formylation reaction. How Wiesner-Hake reaction can be used for the formylation of aromatic compounds. And we have seen how the Gattermann-Goltz reaction can be carried out. Gattermann reaction can be carried out. An important reaction is your Reimer-Tiemann reaction. How the Reimer-Tiemann reaction can be carried out. See, let us move into the next important aspect. So far, we have seen some of the reactions by which a aromatic compound can be converted into a monosubstituted compound. And further in the orientation and reactivity, we saw how the aromatic compound can be, after monosubstitution, it can be converted into a disubstituted compound. So because if it undergoes a disubstitution, then we may get ortho-disubstituted compound, para-disubstituted compound, or meta-disubstituted compound. When we think of the disubstitution, then generally a question can be asked. See, we have two compounds, namely benzene. If benzene is treated with nitric acid and sulfuric acid, what is the product? Since we are familiar with the nitration reaction, we will say that nitrobenzene is obtained as the product. Now what I do is, if I take the reagents in the ratio 1:1, then you will get nitrobenzene. Suppose if you take excess of nitric acid and sulfuric acid, or if you take nitrobenzene, directly take nitrobenzene is available in the market. It's a yellow colored solid, yellow colored liquid. Yellow colored liquid. If nitrobenzene is nitrated further, what is the product? From your knowledge of orientation and reactivity, you will say that nitro group is a electron withdrawing substituent. It is a group offering -I effect. So it will deactivate the aromatic compound. Any group that is deactivating will not give ortho and para products. It will give you a meta product only. So you get meta-dinitrobenzene. Meta-dinitrobenzene. It is a yellow colored solid. We can see this compound is available in our lab. You can see it, yellow colored solid. See, both of them are taking place through the same aromatic electrophilic substitution reaction. Now I ask you a question. Benzene, if it is treated with nitric acid and sulfuric acid, you get nitrobenzene. If nitrobenzene is treated with nitric acid and sulfuric acid, you get metadinitrobenzene. The question is, which reaction occurs easily? Whether the first one or the second one? You have to answer. What is the answer? First one, if first one is the fast reaction or quick reaction, giving you a major product, major yield, higher yield. And the second one, if that one is the slow reaction, sluggish reaction, and if the yield is less, what is the reaction? Or in the reverse, if the first one is slow and second one is the fast reaction, what is the reason? So you can give the answer based on your knowledge on the reactivity of aromatic compounds when they are monosubstituted. I clearly mentioned that the nitro group is a electron withdrawing group. You are getting a meta product, not ortho or para product, because the nitro group is deactivating. So, any group that is deactivating, the reaction will be slow. The reaction may take place that is slow. Whereas the first one, the benzene molecule is plain. The reactivity of plain benzene molecule is higher than nitrobenzene. Nitro group is electron withdrawing group, it is deactivating. So, the first reaction occurs easily. The first reaction is a fast reaction, very quick reaction. And the second one is a slow reaction. In the first reaction, you get the maximum yield. And the second reaction has to be carried out under rigorous conditions. You have to boil it. So nitration, you are boiling the mixture with the concentrated nitric acid and sulfuric acid. Under rigorous conditions only, you will get metadinitrobenzene. So the reason is, the nitro group is deactivating. So such questions are asked in the viva voce and also in the examinations, or if you sit for any interview in chemistry. So please remember, nitric acid and sulfuric acid, they bring you the nitration reaction. Metadinitrobenzene is obtained when benzene is treated with 2 or more equivalents of nitric acid and sulfuric acid. It involves 2 steps. The first step is conversion of nitrobenzene. Nitrobenzene occurs easily. That is a fast reaction because benzene is not deactivated. Once one nitro group enters, that deactivates the benzene thing. So the second reaction is slow reaction. Anyhow, you will get the product, namely metadinitrobenzene. The reason for the formation of metadinitrobenzene is nitro group is deactivating. You don't get orthodinitrobenzene or paradinitrobenzene. In such a situation, I can ask a question. How can you synthesize orthodinitrobenzene? Or how can you produce paradinitrobenzene? So, we are employing aromatic electrophilic substitution reactions for the synthesis of mono, di, tri or polysubstituted aromatic compounds. Di and tri-substituted aromatic compounds or polysubstituted aromatic compounds can be synthesized. How can you synthesize? The question of orientation and reactivity arises here. See, please remember a few reactions that I have already discussed, which we have studied in our plus 2 class itself. See, what is the name of this compound? Toluene. When this toluene is nitrated with a mixture of nitric acid and sulfuric acid concentrated, you will get trinitrotoluene. Trinitrotoluene. So trinitrotoluene, TNT, it is used as a explosive material. I put a similar question. In such a situation, how can you synthesize trinitrobenzene? Here you have a NO2 group. One, leave the two ortho positions. Here I have a NO2 group. Here I have a NO2 group. So trinitrobenzene. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 135 trinitrobenzene. The molecule is symmetrical. Here, suppose if you put a center point and if you pass an axis, you may study all these things in your group theory. The molecule is symmetrical. You have a C3 axis. Rotation through 120 degree will give you another structure. The structure is identical. So, you have symmetrical trinitrobenzene. So, you know the reaction by which a trinitrotoluene can be prepared. We have studied. Now, what I ask is, how can you synthesize 135 trinitrobenzene? So, these are some of the exercises that we are going to do. In the examination, you will find questions also. How can you synthesize this compound? And I give one more exercise. This is your toluene. You have a methyl group. I modify this compound. See? CH3, CH3, CH3. What's the name of this compound? If you give the number from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then it is called as 135 trimethylbenzene. 135 trimethylbenzene. So, how can you prepare these compounds? Namely, 135 trimethylbenzene, 135 trinitrobenzene. The condition is you must employ aromatic electrophilic substitution. The method of preparation, major preparation is from aromatic electrophilic substitution reaction. Just like this, we have a few more compounds. How can we prepare a tri-substituted compound? Okay. So we have a few more compounds also. For example, all these things are mentioned in your syllabus. How can you prepare symmetrical tribromobenzene? That is very important. Symmetrical tribromobenzene. What is this symmetrical tribromobenzene? Symmetrical tribromobenzene. So, just like our symmetrical trinitrobenzene, we have the bromines in the 135 place. So, symmetrical tribromobenzene or 135 tribromobenzene. That's the name of the compound. How can you synthesize 2-amino-5-methylphenol? 2-amino-5-methylphenol. So this is also an important compound. 2-amino-5-methylphenol. First draw the structure. Later on you can give the number. So this is your phenol. If you give the number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2-amino-5-methyl. In the fifth position you have a methyl group. 2 position you have a amino group. So this is the structure of your 2-amino-5-methylphenol. How can you synthesize this compound? And you have 3,4-dibromonitrobenzene. We know the structure of nitrobenzene. Give the number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is your 3,4-dibromonitrobenzene. Here you will have a bromine. Here you will have a bromine. 3,4-dibromo-nitrobenzene. How can you synthesize these compounds? So, you must study about these some 5 compounds. According to your syllabus, how can you synthesize tribromobenzene, 2-amino-5-methylphenol, 3,4-dibromo-nitrobenzene, 1,2,3-trimethylbenzene. So we will discuss the synthesis of all these compounds. It is your duty also. You can also try. How can we synthesize these compounds based on the orientation and reactivity of aromatic compounds in aromatic electrophilic substitution reaction? So you can take this exercise. First you start synthesizing some monosubstituted compounds from the reactions already discussed. From the textbooks available with you, you start with your synthesis of monosubstituted compounds. Slowly move to disubstituted compounds. And then trisubstituted compounds. If you have your BSc level textbooks, you can try with them. Some of the textbooks are giving you an exercise. You might have heard about this book, namely Organic Chemistry by Morrison and Boyd. Very voluminous book giving all the reactions of aromatic organic compounds. So that is the best UG reference book, Organic Chemistry by Morrison, Boyd. Some of our boys cannot understand the language of the book. So because of the poor standard of our boys, we don't recommend that book as a reference book. But when we were students of BSc Chemistry, we have referred that book, Advanced Organic Chemistry by Morrison and Boyd. That is a very good standard book. And you have other books also. So refer the books that is available. If you have the books, then try with the synthesis of di and trisubstituted compounds. In the next class, I will explain. So I have given you some target molecules. It is up to you. You are most welcome to make an attempt in the synthesis of 1,3,5-tribromobenzene, 2-amino-5-methylphenol, 3,4-dibromo-nitrobenzene, 1,2,3-trimethylbenzene. Some 4 or 5 compounds I have given. Try. Wish you good luck. Let us meet in the next class.